Hey everyone. So in this video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about where my indoctrination began. So my first doula training. During that doula training, I was told that it was wrong to refer to women as women, and that the right thing to do was to say birthing person, birthing people, and chest feeder. I emerged from this doula training with an eagerness to educate those around me with these new ideas. Ideas about birth, trans ideology, inclusivity. And I remember sending out my first website to friends and educating them and family as to why I erased the words woman and mother. And when I received questions and pushback from family members, I let them know that they were simply regressive. But not to worry, I sent them a bunch of links to stories of men giving birth. I remember leading with the question, did you know that not only women give birth? My family was tolerant of my new ideas, even when I relentlessly imposed them. They have since exhaled a sigh of relief for me, acknowledging biological sex and no longer toting around town saying that men give birth. So the sentiment that trans women are women and that men can give birth stayed with me for 3 years. I erased the words woman and mother from all marketing and social media, my website, my class material. And I remember doing various lactation and childbirth education trainings and filling out the surveys at the end of the trainings, noting that they needed to be more inclusive in their materials. They were behind the times. I taught large groups of expectant mothers and their partners childbirth education. And during those classes, I exclusively used the term birthing person. I did have a client say to me that she was offended by the term birthing person and felt confused. But in a culture of we are pregnant, right, it's not difficult to see why this ideology has spread so quickly. Right? We know the impact of language on the way that we think and feel, which is why I have so many concerns about the erasure of women in language and legislation. Right? We know we're women. We know our shared lived experiences as women are real. We know that this is not a feeling. So I thought I was doing good by adopting the ideology, by calling myself a trans ally. This was my attempt to virtue signal, to feel like I was in the know, that I was playing a part in what I now know to be a pseudo civil rights movement. So within the organization I trained, there was little room for dissent on multiple fronts. There wasn't even a space to have a conversation about physiologic birth being optimal for a mother-baby over a C-section. This is part of where the hypocrisy is in these organizations, right? Women are going there to improve maternal health, to improve outcomes, yet we are stopped from critiquing the system and how the system is influenced by our choices and our choices to be in those systems. And this isn't about blaming women for choices, right? This is about critical discourse and examining the reasons why someone would exploit their body for money. Why someone would opt to have a surgical birth. So again, the women leading these trainings, I got the sense really did want to improve outcomes. But as soon as I discussing the harms of language around surgical birth, such as using the term belly birth, right, which is a euphemism for a major abdominal surgery, right, to take the baby out of its mother's womb, right, I received tons of pushback, right? How dare you shame birthing people? How dare you place physiologic birth on a hierarchy? So all of a sudden, I was deemed exclusive in my beliefs about even birth. And so why do I bring this up? Well, for many of these birth organizations and women's health organizations, fertility awareness trainings, the agenda doesn't begin and end with trans ideology. Many doula trainings, midwifery programs, and so on push this ideology, but they also push surrogacy and prostitution. They even go so far as to market surrogacy and prostitution as empowering, right? They operate from a liberal feminist standpoint. They subscribe to the illusion of choice, right? That these women are making choices in the world independent of larger systems such as patriarchy, militarism, capitalism, sexism, racism, the pharmaceutical industry. They believe in the exploitation of women as long as they choose it. And so back to the indoctrination, I was really the perfect subject, the perfect sponge to absorb the bullshit idea that woman is a feeling. And until I could see the objective harms of trans ideology, I had no reason to question and not support the quote-unquote movement. That doula training was the window for me into this world. And those who have been following me for a while, perhaps you were even here when I called myself the modern day doula, you know that I have a commitment to serving women in my integrity. And while most of my content recently has been centered around exposing the harms of trans ideology, I continue to coach women planning autonomous births. I co-host in-person village prenatals. I work with women who are processing birth trauma. And above all else, I am with women and walk with women who are ready to step into their power, who are ready to release programming and to speak their truth. And so trans ideology has everything to do with birth. It has everything to do with the massive mind spell of CV-19. It's all related. And if you haven't been affected by this ideology, if you haven't been harassed or bullied, I believe it's only a matter of time. Many of you here have lost your entire social and professional networks for even questioning or liking a post that is gender critical. Many of you have lost longtime sisters. I see you. This is part of why I've created a 4-month group series, right? We need to be able to discuss our concerns. We need to be able to discuss and strategize and share resources, right? We need a space to be able to support one another. So if you're interested in joining the Liberal Feminist Anonymous group series, go to the link in my bio. We'd love to have you.